Herzlich willkommen zum 4. Drittel. Ja, heute mal mit mir anstatt mit Simon. Der sitzt nämlich zum einen krank zu Hause und zum anderen ist es auch ein bisschen geschuldet des Gastes, den wir heute haben. Wir haben letzte Woche ja schon mal ganz kurz mit John Matsumoto, mit dem John Matsumoto das Ganze probiert. Der hat dann sehr, sehr gut auf Deutsch agiert. Heute unser Gast Davis Vandane. Hi, Davis. So we're gonna switch to English right now. Yeah, the first time you're here in the fourth period, im 4. Drittel. Unfortunately, today the mood might not be as good after the 2-5 loss tonight against Rosenheim. Take us through your thoughts about the game tonight.
I think it's unfortunately we didn't win. But I think at the same time, like, you need to take lessons out of each game, whether you win or lose, to get better as the season goes on. And I think tonight we had some good spurts that we played, but there's some stuff that we really need to clean up and pay close attention to moving forward. And yeah, we still got 42 more games to play, so there's a lot of hockey still to go.
That was when we try to before the game we try to put a narrative out there, like who are the players that we like to look at, and funnily enough it was like Davis on our side, and on the other side was Stefan Reiter, who also scored 2 goals. For you as well, 2 goals personally. How much of that, like, when does it start to be like, hey, I actually played a good game? You know, when does that feeling set in? Or is it something where you're like, nah, yeah, we lost and the day is ruined?
I think in the back of your mind, you know that you were able to do as much as you could do personally. I think it's still a team sport, right? Like, it's sure they scoring a goal or getting assists, like, they're good accolades, but at the same time, like, we're in a business of winning and results, right? And I think you, as a player, we're trying to preach to, like, the ups and downs of the season, like, to try to keep it pretty even. And as a player, that's huge. Like, whether it's shift to shift or game to game, like, you need to understand that you may have some bad ones, or even you got to control what you can control, I guess, is the best way to say it. So I think you have a decent feeling about how you personally went, but at the same time, the ultimate is the team play. So
we talked about like experience and what Frankfurt, when you played in Frankfurt, how further along the team from your perspective was than the Penguins are now. Games like tonight, are those the games where you, you said or talked about the team moving forward, but together with a coach, is that a game where you can take more lessons out than maybe stringing together 4 or 5 wins?
I think they're both they're in their own different perspectives. They're just as important. I think you see a lot of it in pro sports that coaches, they even say, like, 4 or 5 game winning streaks are great, but you also, at times, you develop bad habits because you're winning, right? Like, yeah. When you don't pay as much attention to, like, your details of, like, why you won, you're just kind of riding the winning streak. Whereas when you're losing, you pay a lot of attention to why you lost or why you're in certain situations. So I think it's a game like tonight. We need to look at it tomorrow for however long our video session is going to be, and then kind of throw it on the back burner and get ready for Sunday, because you need to learn, but at the same time, you also need to move on and get ready. You can't dwell on what has happened because you can't do anything about it.
Well, you talk about, like, having, like, downtimes as well. Like, from the short time you've been here in Krefeld, what are the spots? What do you do to get your mind clear and maybe step away from hockey for a couple hours at least?
I think for me personally, it's just going home and watch some TV. You know, just kind of, it's bad to say, but just turn your brain off. Like, try not to think about it. Like, I've learned over the years that the home and work balance is really key, because, and I'm sure my wife can attest to it too, but you start bringing work home and all of a sudden it's not any more enjoyable. And like I just said, like, you can't control or do anything about what happened in the game 30 minutes ago, right? Like it's over, it's done with, just move on. And I think the big thing is honestly just at home, just be there with my wife and just kind of get away mentally.
Well, we had that golfing event like 2 weeks ago. Like when I checked, okay, where's Yorkton anyways?
Yeah.
Like you're originally from Yorkton, Saskatchewan. Like how many golf courses are there? And do you get around not playing golf in that area?
So funny enough, there's 2 courses in Yorkton, and one is quite a bit better than the other. But I'm actually a member there, and I played this past summer. I played quite a bit of golf, thankfully. Don't know if my wife was very happy about that, but it within like honestly 2 hours, there's probably 10 to 15 different courses that you can play that are good courses. So it's kind of nice and to be able to play some of the other ones too.
I was in Manitoba this past summer visiting some friends, and like I feel what you're thinking about, because like my girlfriend, she was like, hey, there is not a whole lot to see around here, and I'm like, well, there were something to see, but if you don't golf, then it's
so true. Like you start going to the provincial or national parks that they have, like pretty much everyone has a golf course or one close enough, but yeah, if you're not into golfing, you don't realize how many there actually is.
How's your fishing going? How's that?
It's getting better. I used to actually, it's funny. My in-laws live at a lake, and then my parents also live at a lake. So I used to fish quite a bit, but now that I've kind of got my own more of a own life going on, I don't get out as much as I want. But no, I do enjoy doing that when I can.
So from what I can, correct me if I'm wrong, but you came to Europe in 2018, and then played in Slovakia there for a while. Like, how much of Europe were you able to see in that time? Like, is that something where or do you like go home to Canada every summer, or is that something where you say like, hey, maybe I can stay in like another month and just tour Europe?
We've actually seen a lot of Europe, like different places, whether it's on like our November breaks or whatnot. But yeah, we usually try to do at least like a four to like 6 day trip at the end of the season before going home. But the last couple of years, my wife's been working, so it's kind of like she comes and visits, but at the same time, it's also like I've been gone for so long, I kind of want to get back. But I wish I would have maybe stayed a bit longer in the summers, but it's tough. Like when you're away from your friends and family for 9 months, it's like, yeah, I want to go see those such and such places, but at the same time, you're like, I just want to get back to home. Yeah, right. So,
but I mean, you've been to Bozen, Bolzano, Südtirol. I think there's not a lot of places nicer than that, eh?
I was spoiled last year with that. That's for sure.
But well, here in Krefeld, like when you came here, like what's the interaction with the other guys? Like, how do you get introduced? How do you settle into a locker room when you come home? I mean, come here. I mean, the good thing is that we had a couple Canadians here, and that might have helped. Correct?
Yeah. I played with Lucas last year, so I knew him a little bit, and then used to skate with Matt in the summers back in Calgary, so I knew him a little bit. But I think the big thing is just the couple. Like that first day, we had that family day event, and just kind of getting away from the rink and getting to know guys, that it's you gravitate towards people you know, or people you think you kind of have interests with, and that. So it's been, for the I think there's 4 new guys this year. So the 4 of us coming into the group, it actually is, I feel like it's been a pretty easy transition. But yeah, you got to just try to be friends with people without even really knowing who they are, and then you see kind of how the friendship goes, and so far it's been good.
Dein Abfall ist Giganto? Container von Curanto für private und gewerbliche Entsorgung. Einfach online bestellen. Curanto mit C, curanto.de.
It's not the first Dreisaitl we actually worked with, eh? Like when I went through your list, I was like, hey, wait, Prince Albert Raiders? I know one guy that played there, and lo and behold, it was the year where Leon and Josh Morrissey, that was the other name that sprung out to me. Describe how that time was. I think that was your last junior year in Prince Albert there?
Yeah, no, it was, I got to play with Leon that year, and it was, you knew right away he was special. Like, he was just so talented, and it's funny, I obviously don't have a friendship with him now, so I don't really know how he acts, but when I seen him as a 17-year-old German kid coming to Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, it was like, it was kind of cool to see, because, I mean, a lot of people probably know, but like Prince Albert's very north, and there isn't a ton going on there. So a German kid coming over there and being exposed to all that, it can be a culture shock really fast. But no, it was cool to play with him. He was super skilled and fun to be around.
Like, not to take away from your career, but like playing in that league with kids, like you were probably like 4 years older than Leon, roundabout. He comes into the league and you see like, hey, there's something more. Like, what is the difference between these guys that in the end make the show and maybe players that don't quite get there?
Honestly, I don't want to say better, but they're exposed to higher quality earlier, which allows them to maybe develop a little faster than others. Like if you look at the major junior leagues, like Western League, all those, like some of the guys that I would have played against those years, like now you look at like the NHL, and half to three quarters of those guys are there, and you're like, holy, that was pretty good. But then at the same time, you're like, well, why didn't I make it, right? But every situation's completely different. So it's kind of it's cool to see, but it's also, you have to understand they're different. They're different.
My dad played against Grand Fuhrer.
Yeah.
So I have someone at home who was highly skilled, but So that's the only person I can brag with. I can't brag with myself. I can't brag with my dad, though. Now, one question that a lot of, like, I talked to some people and were like, hey, what can I talk about with Davis? And they were like, ask for his dental plan. like what's the story behind the missing teeth there in front?
So in my first year in Slovakia, I actually got 3 teeth. 2 got knocked out and 1 got chipped. So then that year I had braces, and I got them fixed. Everything was good. And then 2 years later, I got them completely knocked out. And after that one happened, I was kind of like, well, I can't keep doing this every time. So now I'm just kind of waiting until I'm done to get them fixed. But I do have a flipper that I should wear, but it's very uncomfortable, so I don't do it. But I've kind of just accepted that I'm going with no teeth for a couple of years.
There is a lot of discussion, like about health and safety. Like we got the neck cut protection now, and like a lot of people like talking about like face protection. Like, what's your stance on that? Like, if you see like young people come up and they are wearing the cage, and all of a sudden when they turn 18, they're like, no, I can't wear them anymore. Like, is that something where you say like, hey, let's just move on and maybe protect that?
I mean, for our health and safety, we probably should be wearing cages. But I remember like when I was 18 and I got to take my cage off, like it was like exactly cool. Like I feel like I'm a big kid now, right? So like it's, for that part of it, I kind of get it. But at the same time, like when I got my teeth knocked out, I had to put a cage on because my mouth was exposed, and like I found it very difficult to use the cage. But I also have been playing, at that point I would have been playing for 10, 12 years without it, so it's like, I feel like once you get used to it, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I think it's just one of those like kind of traditions, I think, in hockey that would be kind of hard to break. But for our own safety, we probably should be wearing them.
So let's look at the family man, Davis Vandane, a little bit. You talked about having like your wife, she's here, and like how is she holding up? How is she settling into Europe and Germany, especially?
She's a little jet lagged right now. She got here last weekend, but yeah, she loves it. She played hockey as well. So the year before we met, she played a year in Vienna for a women's team. So she got to experience the European lifestyle, and then when we started dating and then moved over here, and I mean, she, just like I do, you love Europe. It's just, it's like a different experience, and it's nice, you know, like I really do enjoy living in Europe, and especially living in Germany with everything you get as a German citizen or resident, I guess you'd say. But yeah, no, she really likes it, and I think just slowly, once she gets over the jet lag and get into kind of a routine of working and doing that, it'll be good.
So does she have her hockey stuff with her?
No, she didn't bring it this year. I think this might be the first year she hasn't brought it, actually. Yeah. But no, if we end up doing a family skate or something, she'll borrow some equipment. Yeah. But yeah, no, she likes times that you can tell she misses. She still wishes she was playing, but.
Well, she played like professionally for like men's.
She went to school. She played at OSU. For 4 years, and then she did a year in Vienna in like professional league, and then she had to get hip surgery, so then that derailed it. And then fortunately at that time there wasn't the PWHL like there is now, so it kind of, she didn't have the avenues that maybe one coming out of college would right now.
I mean, that was one of the big stories, I think, last year, like having that stride made, like having the first, like, let's be honest, like for me personally, I thought that was the first real legit good step towards having a really settled in women's league. Like, so who would you pick on your fantasy team? Prime Davis or Prime your wife? Like,
I'm gonna have to go with myself on that one. She was a good player, but she wasn't, fantasy wise, probably wasn't as effective as maybe I would be.
Do you have any children yet, or no? So, but like between us, is it a plan, or what's your mind for it?
We'd like to have children. It's right now. It's just we're trying to get settled and kind of be in one. I've been in a few places the last couple of years, so it's kind of nice now to be in one place and maybe make it a couple of years here and kind of make it a home. But yeah, we have plans, but nothing's really, I guess, imminent.
Yeah, well, looking back to the sport things, like that's the first game tonight for the weekend. Now we're gonna where are we gonna go on Sunday actually?
Celeb, I think.
Celeb? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Celeb. Yeah. Oh Jesus Christ! Like it's so far in the east. I almost forgot about it. Yeah, well, you come off from the 8-0 win in the first game of the season. What do you expect going there? Like they are probably highly motivated. You have a long trip. Like, what's the mindset for the next 84 hours? 48 hours. 48 hours.
I think we'd be naive to think that we're going to get the same team that we played the first game, right? So I think it's going to be, like I talked pregame, it's the parity in the league. You look at the standings, it's so close, and anybody can beat anybody on any given night. So we need to come with a good attitude and just build shift by shift and get ready and be ready for a solid 60 minutes, because that's what it's going to take, especially like you said, after a long road trip and going into their rink. It's going to be hard, but that's why we play the game, right?
Exactly. For today, it was like a little bit like we got back Lucas Lesio, and that's when when Bushy had to sit out. Like the rotation and the competitiveness, like what we saw last year. You weren't there, but what we saw last year was like maybe a miscalculation of. Whoever it was that miscalculated, but they were like, it's good that we have a lot of guys, the competitiveness will be higher, and it didn't turn out that way. Do you have the feeling that this, with Thomas as a coach, might be a little different, that people that get sidelined work harder to get back into the lineup?
Yeah, I think competitiveness in practice and within the lineup is a good thing, regardless of how many extra you have. And I mean, look at 2 weeks ago, we were begging for guys to be playing because we were that shorthanded, right? So it's unfortunate that some guys have to sit each game, but it's good to have the extra guys in case you need them, right? Next man up mentality. And I think it's, as a player, you got to take it personally that maybe it's out of your control that you didn't play in the lineup, but you know what? You got to work just as hard to get back in. And there's nothing wrong with having that around the team.
Timekeeper, Maxi, was sagst du? Looks good. Like the goalie was pulled already, so we have to come to an end. Thank you for your time, especially after a loss. I know sometimes it's not as easy, but thanks for the great talk. Ja, damit kommt ein viertes Drittel auch schon zum Ende. Zum ersten Mal fast komplett in Englisch. Natürlich das Intro und das Extro, natürlich nicht das Outro. Aber ich hoffe, euch hat es ein bisschen Spaß gemacht. So hat man mir gesagt, es gibt eine Übersetzung unten runter. Die wird wahrscheinlich dann auch kommen. Damit darf ich mich verabschieden und wünsche euch natürlich dann allen noch ein schönes Wochenende und hoffentlich dann am nächsten Sonntag wieder mit dem besseren Ende für uns hier. Ja, bis dann. Ciao.